Lord of the Mysteries web novel. Chapters 1 to 5 narration recap. Painful. How painful. My head hurts so much. Zhou Mingray woke to searing pain, as if his skull was pierced and twisted. In his stupor, he tried to move but found himself paralyzed. This must be a dream, he thought, battling to focus amid chaotic thoughts. Could it be a cerebral hemorrhage? Am I dying? I need to wake up. Gradually, the pain subsided. Mustering strength, he opened his eyes to find himself at a wooden desk. An open notebook with strange black writing lay before him. Nearby sat a brass revolver, an ink bottle glowing faintly red, and a stack of books. The room was dimly lit by a crimson moon outside the window. This isn't my room, he thought, glancing at his unfamiliar surroundings. A modest chamber with peculiar devices, coal stoves, and a cracked mirror. Turning to the mirror, he saw a stranger. Black hair, brown eyes, and a thin build. Have I transmigrated? Memories not his own surfaced. Klein Moretti, a history graduate in a struggling family, fluent in ancient languages. On the desk, the notebook's text shifted into Hermes language. Everyone will die, including me. Chilled, he backed away, noticing a bloody handprint on the table and blood on his palm. Looking closer in the mirror, he spotted a grotesque wound on his temple, blood streaked with brain matter squirming. Is this me now? Klein Moretti? Zhou Mingray recoiled in shock. The figure in the dressing mirror resembled a desiccated corpse. The grievous wounds on his body should have been fatal, yet his heart raced with vitality. He pressed his chest and touched his skin. Warmth flowed beneath. Squatting and standing again, he confirmed his mobility. With a frown, he muttered, "What's happening?" Noticing the dim light, Zhou glanced at the gas lamp by the desk. A memory flickered. His elder brother, Benson, had persuaded their landlord to install gas pipes years ago, creating a study space with a borrowed gas lamp. Zhou turned the valve and twisted the lamp's switch. Only sputtering followed. A memory guided him to the gas meter. After inserting a copper penny, gears ground melodiously. Returning to the lamp, he tried again. This time, warm light filled the room. Inspecting his temple, he saw no flowing blood. The wound seemed to heal before his eyes. Transmigration's restorative effects, he murmured, relieved to be alive. He grabbed a towel and soap and headed to the communal bathroom. Crimson moonlight painted the dark hallway. Inside, running water reminded him of his landlord, Mr. Frankie, infamous for berating tenants over water use. Zhou washed away the blood and reflected. His wound, the revolver, and the cryptic note in the notebook. Everyone will die, including me. Returning to his room, he wiped away bloodstains and examined the revolver. 5 live rounds and 1 spent shell confirmed his suspicion, a self-inflicted shot to the temple. Sitting by the desk, Zhou pondered. Why had he transmigrated? His memories jolted. Earlier, he'd performed a luck enhancement ritual from an obscure book, quintessential divination and arcane arts. Though nothing happened then, could it have triggered his sudden shift? Zhou Mingray, now free of his earlier fears, began to analyze Klein's fragmented memories. He turned off the gas lamp, watching the light fade before sitting down. As he idly spun the revolver's brass cylinder, he sank into the memories in the crimson-tinged darkness, focusing like a theater-goer. The bullet wound had shattered Klein's memories, leaving gaps in crucial details, how the revolver came to be in his possession, the meaning of the note, or the events leading up to his death. These missing pieces made Zhou wonder if Klein could even graduate, despite recently leaving campus. 2 days before, Klein had an interview at Tingen University's history department. The red moon sank beyond the horizon, and the faint glow of dawn emerged. A commotion outside signaled that Melissa was awake. Despite having no younger sister, Klein's memories made her feel like family. Melissa had a different education path, bypassing Sunday school for public school under the Basic Education Law. At 15, she entered Tingen Technical School's Steam and Machinery department, a dream supported by Benson despite his business struggles. Zhou reflected on Klein's own academic struggles, his late-night efforts to catch up in university, and the memories of his siblings that still lingered in his mind. A sudden noise made him remember the revolver in his hand, quickly stashing it in a drawer. Melissa entered, curious, but Zhou quickly concealed his actions. He pretended to examine a pocket watch, a keepsake from their father, which Melissa had recently fixed. As she fiddled with the watch, Joe wondered why she hadn't noticed his apparent suicide earlier. As they sat down for tea, Melissa reminded him about errands, buying bread, mutton, and peas. Her concerned repetition seemed almost patronizing, but Joe nodded, smiling through the discomfort. Once she left for school, Joe's thoughts turned back to the luck enhancement ritual. "I just want to go home," he sighed, staring at the door. Returning to his chair, Joe Mingray heard the cathedral's bells chime 7 times. He stood, retrieved his clothes from the cupboard, and dressed in a black vest, matching trousers and a top hat, which made him feel like a Victorian-era character. Muttering, he reminded himself, "I'm not going for an interview, just buying ingredients for a ritual." He switched to a brown coat and felt hat. Reaching beneath his bed cushion, he pulled out a roll of notes, savings from Benson, including living expenses. The notes were faded, dark green, with denominations of 1 and 5 solely. The smell of money caught his attention, stirring Klein's memories of money's allure. After admiring the notes, Joe Mingray tucked 2 1 solely notes into his jacket, hid the rest, and retrieved a brass revolver from his desk. His only defense? Though he lacked shooting experience, the gun would deter anyone. After checking the chamber, he concealed the revolver in his pocket along with the notes and left the apartment. Walking through a bustling street filled with hawkers and foul smells, he stayed alert, clutching his revolver. Passing a busking accordionist and some malnourished children, he reached Smyron Bakery and greeted the owner, Mrs. Wendy Smyron, a friendly elderly woman. After purchasing rye bread, Joe Mingray briefly mused about the differences in income, particularly the possibilities if Klein passed his university interview. A lecturer's salary would vastly improve his family's status. As he left, he noticed protest-related price drops and considered how different life could be with a higher income. At the market, he encountered a tarot reader, intrigued by the mention of tarot, recalling its invention by Rose Augusta. Curious, he agreed to try a divination, taking advantage of a free offer. "Free? Free things cost the most," Joe Mingray muttered to himself, deciding he wouldn't spend a single penny more on services. "If you're that good, try divining that I transmigrated here." Following the painted woman, Joe ducked into the dimly lit tent. Inside, faint light revealed a table strewn with tarot cards. The woman in the pointy hat moved gracefully to light a candle, her voice calm as she invited him to shuffle and cut the deck. "Me? Shuffle?" Joe hesitated. "Of course," she replied. "Your destiny is yours to uncover." "It's free, right?" Joe asked, wary. She nodded, and he shuffled and cut the deck before placing it back. The fortune teller arranged 3 cards on the table. Past, present, future. "Which first?" she asked. "Present," Joe said. She revealed the Fool, numbered 0. Before she could elaborate, the tent flap opened. "Impersonating me again?" snapped a taller, similarly dressed woman. "You're an animal trainer, not a fortune teller." Caught, the first woman huffed and left. The real fortune teller smiled. "Shall I interpret for you?" "Is it free?" Joe asked. "No," she said. "Then forget it." He left, muttering, "An animal trainer. Not even a good clown." Later, Joe bought mutton, vegetables, and bread, spending nearly all his money. Back home, he prepared for a ritual, translating the chant into local languages to ensure accuracy. With everything set, he arranged bread in the room's corners and began walking in a counterclockwise square. "Blessings stem from the immortal Lord of heaven and earth," he chanted with each step. As he completed the ritual, whispers filled the room, sharp and maddening. Pain seared through his head, forcing his body rigid. Just as he thought he'd break, the voices faded, leaving behind an endless gray fog. Joe floated amidst crimson stars dotting the mist. Reaching out, he touched a star, triggering bursts of light. His mind reeled before fading entirely. In Backland, Audrey Hall sat before a cracked bronze mirror, reciting incantations. Her efforts to awaken the Dark Emperor's treasure failed, leaving her pouting. Suddenly, the mirror glowed crimson, enveloping her. On the Sonia Sea, Alger Wilson, aboard a storm-tossed ship, gripped a glass bottle filled with shifting elements. As he murmured about the ghost shark's blood, Crimson light erupted between his hand and the bottle, surrounding him. In the gray mist, Audrey, Alger, and Joe appeared together, stunned. As they exchanged wary glances, Joe broke the silence. "Where is this?" Audrey and Alger hesitated before responding in unison. "What are you planning?"